Jack Ma's story is not technically rags to riches, but it's a very compelling story nonetheless. It's a story that every Chinese citizen wants to emulate. Jack Ma is bigger than life. His personality is so towering that it is not shy of overshadowing Chinese President Xi Jinping. And that is exactly where the president's insecurity stems from. Jack Ma, or Ma Yun, started off as a lecturer in English. He became a member of the Chinese Communist Party. He went on to found China's biggest online commerce company, Alibaba. He did not stop there. He launched Alipay. He ventured into finance. 17 years on, Jack Ma is now China's richest man. He has a Western name, around $50 billion in banks, a career graph that every young Chinese wants to follow, and a reputation for challenging Chinese authorities. Jack Ma is not just a billionaire, he's a people's billionaire. Think about it. Jack Ma has a career in films. He made an acting debut in 2017 by playing an invisible kung fu fighter. Jack Ma has sung on stage, danced in front of huge crowds. He writes kung fu fiction, practices Tai Chi, teams up with Jet Li. Jack Ma also plays poker. He paints. His works are auctioned at Sotheby's. Jack Ma has his employees do handstands at work. He's on the board of SoftBank. He's also on the board of Nature Conservancy. He speaks fluent English. In short, Jack Ma is a superhero in China. He's the daddy Ma of China, the big daddy. Outside the country, he's China's poster boy, the first prominent Chinese man that Donald Trump met after he won the US presidential election in 2016. How do you think Xi Jinping views all of this? Of course he doesn't like it. He wants to be the be-all and end-all of China. Xi Jinping wanted to make China a global superpower through technology. Jack Ma was supposed to be his foot soldier in this plan. An entrepreneur who understood technology, who could appear alongside top Chinese leaders and at the same time connect with a global audience. That alone was Jack Ma's role. He was supposed to be the face that told Xi Jinping's success story. Instead, Jack Ma himself became China's biggest success story. Too big for the president's liking. Now Xi Jinping is cutting him to size. Not only did Jack Ma become China's biggest star, he also questioned China's policies. And that too openly. At a time when Xi Jinping's regime was already under global scrutiny, Jack Ma was becoming a threat to the president and his narrative. He had gone from being an entrepreneur and CCP member to a superstar critic. Chinese mouthpiece People's Daily had to issue a headline that read, "There is no so-called Jack Ma era, only Jack Ma in the era." That same article went on to explain, and I quote, "A good seedling can grow into a towering tree only when it meets the suitable soil and climatic conditions." Look at the things that have happened in the last few months. At a time when Xi Jinping was being lambasted for exporting a virus, the Jack Ma Foundation was in the headlines for sending PPE kits to 150 countries. Then came the Shanghai speech. It defined a protagonist and an antagonist in the China story. So Jack Ma became the hero, Xi Jinping the villain. Now he's paying the price for looking good. Recalling his childhood, Jack Ma had once said, "I was never afraid of opponents who were bigger than I." And for a while, it did seem that he was following that principle in adulthood too. The 56-year-old Jack Ma was taking on China's strongmen. Beijing cracked the whip, Jack Ma surrendered, but he may not be spared. For years, China told the story of its growth through Jack Ma. And now China is telling the story of its party's power also through Jack Ma. The kind of crackdown that Beijing loves to pull off. We've seen it in the past. An Interpol chief goes missing in China. Meng Hongwei was arrested on arrival. A top film star goes missing in China. Fan Bingbing came out after months apologizing. And now a tech giant has reportedly disappeared. Xi Jinping's insecurity and the need to assert his power reveals itself in high-profile disappearances in China. And this is how he talks to his critics. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.